From Baxter's Now 42 in the Highlands of Louisville, Kentucky, and worldwide on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. This is Shooting from the Lip Live. I'm Erik McEwen Kevin Hale right next to me, and two of our very good friends with us, Mr. Zach Longoria, Mr. Kevin Cummings.
It is Kevin Cummings' night here at Baxter. He'll be doing his thing.
And
very
this segment's called the Pre-Cum.
Pre-cum.
Delicious.
All right. The segment before you guys showed up, we had Tiffany Sims, who is to your right, Mr. Cummings. She is part of the leadership team at Starbucks. We had her come on to talk about the training they went through for the racial.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Real quick, what was your take on the whole? Start with.
I thought.
Let me start with Kevin.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Kevin, your take.
I thought we talked about this exact subject.
Well, only because she's here, and I would have let her. She gets to hear you right, firsthand.
I don't know. I don't have a ton to say. I mean, if I would have heard what their training was, I would have more to say, but I'm not really sure.
I mean, it was.
I assume it was stuff about not making jokes about black coffee and stuff. I don't know. Just
Tiff,
no.
Is that a yes, no?
So no one likes jokes, apparently. Well, they did.
Yeah.
I liked it. I just wasn't up next to the mic when I laughed.
Yeah, I really don't know much about it. So
Okay. It was
Striking,
4 hours.
rich,
Yeah.
compelling.
Yeah.
you're welcome. I don't even like coffee at all. to be
Yeah.
honest.
All right. We
Is it my turn now?
Yeah. Real quick.
Okay. I thought from a corporate standpoint, they handled it about as well as you could have asked for from a PR standpoint. They definitely went the extra mile to be like, yo, this is a big deal to us. What happened to these two guys is not cool. That's not what we're about, and we're going to fix it. And I feel like that's all you can really ask a company to do in that kind of circumstance. So, I mean, I felt like they did the proper thing, and those two dudes could have walked away with a lot of money, and they chose not to and gave it to charity. I thought that was cool, too.
That
It
was
wasn't
super
about
cool.
the money. It was just about
That's a hard
it's-
decision. I don't care
it
how
was
good.
just about them being like, this was not okay, and hey, we know, and we're gonna fix it. And everybody was like, yay,
Yeah.
good job.
All right, Kevin. Speaking of a couple dudes, how about Trump and Kim? This summit. What was your take on it?
I don't know. The weirdest thing to me is, I mean, I definitely like. I don't think that you shouldn't talk to someone because they're a bad guy, or you should. You know, I think there's each situation is different, but I don't know. I guess the skepticism in me, it's hard to see like there's not going to be slave camps now. Like obviously no one thinks that. Like, so I mean,
Elaborate on it. What are you saying?
my point is that like North Korea, has so many of the worst situations on the planet, like with slave camps. I can't see him be like, oh, now we're not going to do
Trump's
that
words
anymore.
were that he's a really good person.
Yeah, like he's one of the worst humans that have ever existed,
Ever.
And
I
if
think it was honorable was the word. He was He was an honorable person.
I just can't think of anything lower than him, lower
makes
than
it worse.
someone that treats people that can't do anything for them like just completely. I mean, it's really bad. I mean, it's like so for me, it's really difficult to see much respect or positivity out of that situation unless he was actually addressing. Like, hey, how about you not be a horrible human? Like, it's not like those were the conversations. It's all just really on the top of the surface, handshake kind of stuff. So
Right.
for me, it just doesn't. It's PR.
Was it more of a photo
Like you were saying
op?
with Starbucks,
Was
except
it
with
photo-
Starbucks, I think they had more good motives.
Yeah, there was actually genuine.
Yeah.
Was it? I mean, it was a photo op.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's-
I don't know what the devil's in the details, and I feel like the details are small and limited about what was like. It really. I guess what kills me is like, do I think it's a good thing to have communication with North Korea? Sure, it's good to have that. However, this has been tried, and the same people who were like, this is the greatest diplomatic day in the history of the
News
United
ripped
States.
open.
Yeah, they all
I'm telling
ripped
you,
Obama for
these
suggesting
same
that.
people, just like 4 years ago, were like, I can't believe Obama is
Would
going to
sit
meet
with
with
a
a dictator. Blah. And then on this day right now, our sitting president is at odds with almost all of our allies, almost all of them, All of them don't want to be at the table, and these are like allies we've had since World War II.
Yeah,
but he's off meeting with.
Right, but we're proud of that one guy that we never wanted anything to do with.
But we should work with Putin and talk to him, a guy that won a rigged election where like 2 of the people ended up dying, the other one backed out because his family's being intimidated. But we're cool with that kind of regime.
And Putin's great
and we're
compared
cool
to
with North Korea.
Kim Jong-un.
I mean, whatever, diplomacy's fine.
Yeah.
We'll see what that means in 10 years. So I mean, I'm not going to knock it and be like, it didn't give us anything. Who knows? Maybe, but methinks.
Yeah, I
Just a
can't imagine
publicity
if
stunt.
you're a North Korean. Number one, you don't even know this happened because you probably have no access to anything anyway. But I can't imagine their lives like getting better because of this. I mean, they're still going to be.
That'll be what I really care about. Is like North Korea is one of the most oppressive regimes in the world. I mean, it literally is isolated from everything.
Yeah.
The only one other.
It's like I want to have lunch with someone that like I know they have like 9 kids like
Right.
Stuck in their basement. Like I'm not like I don't want to hang out with him.
Yeah.
Like
There was only
I
one
just
other
want to go to
country
his
like
house and
North
help the people. That's what I want. Like.
Korea. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna swing the pendulum here with Trump. He is likely to support ending blanket federal ban on marijuana. Okay.
Hey man, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean that's a no-brainer.
That's the beauty.
Yeah, congratulations for finally being the person. Like,
But what's really sad is ultimately what that means is let's let rich white man take over all the money from marijuana.
Okay. But but doesn't that still?
Oh, it's still great. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just been a silly thing for so long. Silly in the reasoning behind it, but really horrible in the actual repercussions of the lack of knowledge. But yeah, I mean, anything that would keep people from being thrown in jail for minding their own business is a great decision.
I also
Prison
think
reform.
if you make pot legal across the board, I think it's a really fair argument to say like people should have a lot of things expunged off their record, and people should
For sure.
and people should be taken out of prison
Immediately.
who are there on pot charges. Like I don't see how you can do one and not do
Right.
the other.
Well, the possession charges or the trafficking? Or
Yeah,
both?
I mean talking about all of it. Possession, trafficking. People should not be in prison living out sentences for something that eventually was found to be not even a crime, and actually it's profitable now. I don't see how that's morally, like you can be like, well, he committed a crime then, but then the things we thought were crimes then ended up not being a crime at all. So I just don't think that's very
So
logical.
my next question, Kevin, if a squirrel is blind, how do they find nuts?
Luck.
I don't know.
Luck.
Okay. All right.
That was the joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Imagine
Sitting
if you will,
running through
paint
my
a
head
picture.
right now.
He's a squirrel, right?
Yeah.
I'm a nut.
Okay.
He can't see for shit.
Right.
All right, he's blind as hell.
Okay.
There he is.
And he's like, every other squirrel is just fast as hell, just getting all the damn nuts, right? And every day he comes out there, bless his little blind ass heart, and he goes look for the nut. Can't find it. Well, on this day,
You get lucky.
this lucky blind son of a bitch, he found that nut.
So my point was that Trump makes lots of bad decisions, but
Yes.
that was a good
But
one.
once in a while,
Right.
when he's stumbling in the dark that is blindness, he does
I love
find
it.
a chestnut.
I've never heard that before. I love it.
Yeah.
You've never heard that?
That's some southern stuff
No,
right
Yeah.
there.
no, I haven't.
We broke that down quite well.
We did.
Well
It's
played,
beautiful.
guys.
One of my favorite personalities on the
You're welcome.
Anthony Bourdain. I bring him up because one, just great storyteller, just who he was when it come to the whole food scene, his storytelling, the cultures and everything. But the issue here in hand is him taking his own life. In this case, suicide. Still an epidemic, and I have to say this: people who help me jump in, because the people who go that route, they tend to forget the pain that it's going to cause after the fact. There's a lot of people that's going to be impacted.
Depression's a disease, and the mortality rate's really high. Whether you taking your own life is succumbing to the disease. I mean, it's a different type of disease, but it's a mental illness, and can you be in control of it? You with God's grace and good luck and help, you can. But if you don't get the help, it is a disease. And I think there's a lot of insensitivity out there about, and a lot of lack of awareness about mental health out there. And so take any other disease. When you are afflicted with a life-threatening disease, no matter what it is, your body goes into survival mode. Okay, and that's so the first thing on your mind is I need to live another day until you succumb to it.
Yeah.
That's my take on it. I think there's a big lack of awareness and a lot of insensitivity about mental health.
I agree with the insensitivity on all that, but I also think there's another side of the coin of like, ultimately, if you look at suicide as the ending of a disease, then in every single situation, there's never been a case of a selfish suicide. They were all just victims, and I think that that's also a silly model. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm saying that like I think there have been people that just made shitty decisions that were selfish, and then they killed themselves.
Right. Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that I think that is the norm or that that's the only way that happens. I just think that people often throw it to where it's so far one side. The same with like alcoholism. It's like I don't personally love the disease model of alcoholism, which makes a lot of people really mad. But regardless, I think that looking at both sides of it, and there's personal responsibility has to be somewhere in there, not for everyone. I mean, there are people that are extremes, but I think that we shouldn't use rhetoric to avoid all personal responsibility.
Well, with any disease, you have a choice to go to the doctor.
I actually really agree with that.
I like that. But I also think, even like when you say with any disease, but I mean like no one would debate, because there is no ability to debate whether cancer is or isn't a disease. Alcoholism is a disease, and depression is a disease. Now, I would argue one is more so than the other. But regardless,
Right.
I think
I can see that.
But what I'm saying is that those are diseases because we've said that.
And
Right.
Bourdain has.
You cannot look at data and get that answer.
Because it's so relative to who you are, where
Right.
you are in your life,
You're right.
what's going on in your life.
You know,
It's because how relative it is, you can't really equate it or have any like.
it's
concrete
not the
data
same
on it.
as cancer
However,
or smallpox. I mean, they're
however,
different.
you can't. Anybody who tries to generalize it as one or the other is missing the point. They're not. It's a case-by-case basis.
I agree.
Every
Right.
single time.
Well, the brain is something that hasn't been completely explored.
Not even close. Yeah.
No.
And
It's
you know,
smarter than we are.
It is a disease that affects the brain. And we talked in a segment before with addiction, especially heroin, it cuts off dopamine. And the people that are able to survive heroin addiction have mental disorders because there's a chemical imbalance.
But there's also the other side of that. Is like, for instance, the rates of soldiers using heroin in Vietnam were insane.
Right.
And I think less than 10% came back and used. So they were in a situation that was terrible. They used heroin. They came back to their friends and family. They did not take heroin. So my point is that there's so much more into this than this disease
But my question
model.
is, with that data, is that when they came back, opioids and heroin were not readily available that time.
Well, my point is they didn't have addiction problems.
Okay.
They could have found anything to get.
Sure, I mean, yeah, you're right. Okay.
They could have just grabbed a
So
bottle.
you mean like it wasn't like systemic?
My point
across
is
the
that
board.
they became productive, normal members of society, whereas there they would have been considered a heroin addict.
Okay. All right.
Well, in the 80s, you had crack.
I mean, the same thing is like you're familiar with, like
that's the opposite effect.
like the big drug study, the rat park.
Right.
You familiar? Well, then when they first did the studies on rats, they showed that they would choose cocaine over food constantly till the point of death. And then, but you also have to imagine these were people, these were the mice taken out of their families in their very social situations, put in a tiny little cage and given two options. Whereas someone else redid this, they made the little mouse park where they had everything they wanted. They had their family, and almost none of them chose drugs over food. And if they did, it was pretty much what you would consider recreational usage. They were like, sometimes Coke's fun. So my point, though, is that I just think that environment and personal decisions have so much to do that just get left out when you throw it all in as this overlapping disease that just covers everything.
Yeah. I've had two friends that have committed suicide that I've known, and one committed suicide when he came home from war, and that was like a whole different level of depression. I'm sure he had that's like a totally different thing. Then I had another friend who committed suicide because he was going through a really rough patch in his life at the time, but things could have gotten better, and he just couldn't deal. And so like two very different things. So it's hard to like lump them all in and
Right.
like.
It's just like I've had friends that the doctor told them very irresponsibly, just boldly said, you have depression as this disease. And it's also someone that doesn't work out, that doesn't eat healthy, that has a bad job, that has a terrible girlfriend. I'm like, how about make better decisions with your life? Like, I mean, that's what the doctor should be telling him is like, step up as a human, don't take this pill and just accept your failure as a human, just go to the gym. Like, literally, he would have been, there's no way he wouldn't have at least been a little happier had he done those things. So I think that so often using that disease model is irresponsible.
Self-deprecation. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's never good.
Kevin, fair or foul, in New York City, a judge has ruled in favor of a bar that kicked someone out for wearing a Make America Great Again hat. Dead serious. Would Starbucks kick anybody wearing a MAGA hat? Okay, just
I mean, that's definitely stupid.
It's dumb.
Yeah,
I mean, nobody
that's really
should. Who
dumb.
gives a shit? If somebody's hat is going to make you so triggered that you can't
Yeah.
even be in a, just don't go out.
Yeah.
Like, keep your ass at home.
Agreed.
And, like, don't do anything that involves contact with
Yeah,
other
and if you're
people
so
because you're a fragile person with a fragile brain and
Be
a
in a
fragile
commune.
mind.
Be in a commune where everyone agrees with you.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
right.
you're in a
Well,
melting
hold on.
pot of
It was
people.
in this case, it was the bar who kicked the person, not. I understand.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
Yeah,
look,
that's,
was the
would you
person
say-
in a MAGA hat being a giant pile of douche?
yeah.
Because that's an important thing to understand.
Did he
in the
also
story.
vape?
Yeah, was he vaping? One, was he in a MAGA hat? Two,
With the man bun.
and did he have some form of jeans with like glittery tribal things on
Oh,
the
that's
back?
important.
We didn't.
That's
get
important
that
because that says a lot. There's a lot more.
Yeah,
to be
obviously
said.
that's ridiculous. I mean, if you know,
What,
there's
you on CNN.com or something?
part. No, I mean it's the legit.
It is a
it's the
story.
USA.
I've seen this story,
it is.
but I think anything like that's dumb. I think not baking a cake for somebody because they like to go home and just have sex with a dude on a Sunday is as insane as not allowing somebody into your bar because
Only
they wear a
Sundays.
MAGA hat one day. You know what I mean? Like, it's insane. It's ridiculous. Like, people need to get the fuck over themselves.
Wait, what's up next, Kevin?
Speaking of gays, Tennessee hardware store owner proudly displays "No gays allowed" sign on door.
I mean,
The Supreme Court ruling favored him for
Oh.
doing it.
Here's what you do. Fuck that guy, right? Everybody in that town
problem
should
is that-
say fuck that guy.
The problem is
if
that-
everybody in that town doesn't say fuck that guy,
if
then
I was
everybody in
going to
America
look
says
for
fuck
people
that
that
town.
don't like homosexuals, I feel like I might go to a small town hardware store. My point is, I think there's going to be plenty of people that are going to buy fucking hammers from this dude, even if he doesn't like guys getting hammered by other guys. I just think it's not going to be a problem.
So
And if this dude had like a salad store in New York, he probably wouldn't be able to stay open. But a hardware store in whatever
I've got
terrible
a-
place.
one place you get
Whatever
nailed, and the
terrible
other place
place
you
it
get
is.
a salad tossed.
What bad place in Tennessee? I like Tennessee sometimes, but which place was it? It sounds bad already. I don't like it.
Sports. Here's because this one, Kev, you posted something related to this on your Facebook. The whole this is getting out of politics.
Space
Sports.
Jam.
Yeah, Space Jam.
That was mine.
LeBron.
Saw that.
The whole argument, recent
not an
argument.
argument anymore.
Well, it's not. LeBron versus MJ, the greatest of all time. LeBron gets swept by the Warriors.
Sports.
It's still an impossible argument anyway. It's like, who's the best hacker? Right now, whoever's the best hacker is definitely better than whoever was best in
Comparing-
1998.
Comparing
apples
and
LeBron to Jordan, I've had many a debate on this topic about we don't ever talk sports balls. I'm glad we brought this up, fellas.
I like
I got
balls
some
of
things to
sports.
say. Okay. First of all, LeBron James is the first player of his kind ever in the history of basketball, across
He
the
is-
board.
he is
No
unique.
player,
Yeah.
no body type, no skill set has existed.
True.
Ever.
Maybe John Stockton was close.
No,
And those
maybe
shorts.
Magic Johnson would be like the first one that I would think of. But even with Magic Johnson, there's a lot of things that he just didn't have
Yeah, he wasn't
physicality
quite an
wise.
alien like
So
LeBron.
we're already starting at a point of where like they're different. You know what I mean? When it comes to most clutch player, a winner, like the dude that you knew, like, oh shit, it's the time of the game. That dude's always going to be Jordan. I'm
Always.
sorry if you grew up watching Jordan. No, just no. That man was the best at when the game rose to a new level and he had to raise up and do something. He did it.
Clutch.
What are the highlights? The most famous Jordan highlights when he hits that three at
And
the
then
end,
jumps
and
up.
then he jumps
Yeah,
up.
yeah. That's the one.
That's
That's
the
the one.
Jordan.
Speaking of
that we know
Stockton, I
of.
believe
So, like-
they beat the Jazz in that
And
one.
Jordan
Yeah.
also played in a different era in the sense of like you know, LeBron, to be fair to him, like he's playing in a new era of where like there's super teams, and there's a lot more than just like being a lot like back when we were watching basketball growing up.
Franchise.
You had franchises, but you had like, you know, two, three maybe good players on a game at any time.
Yeah.
With Golden State, like that's the first super team we've ever seen in NBA history. Like
the next best thing was Miami when LeBron.
Yeah,
had the decision.
right. But like that model has kind of started to change, and with that, it's kind of changed a lot of things. So you have to weigh that in with LeBron. If LeBron plays in the same era with the same physicality in the '90s, he's going to do quite well. He's going to do real well.
Yeah, everyone. I love that everyone always loves to act like, because I'm a way more Jordan fan than LeBron. But everyone acts like LeBron couldn't have handled. Like they were like, I wish he would have had to play against the Pistons. And I'm like, the Pistons don't want to have to play against those guys. Look like you compared to LeBron.
You kidding me?
There
was the size and strength.
Forwards back in the '90s didn't even know how to deal with somebody
and
their
just because
size.
you flop
that could take
doesn't mean
you
you're
off
weak.
the
It means
dribble
you cheat a little
and
bit.
shoot
like
a 15-footer in your face. Like nobody could even guard LeBron.
No,
I
the
would
only
like to
people that
see
could
your
have
flop,
been
Kev.
the Pistons back then with Lambeer.
Yeah.
And Rodman. They've been punching them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That's
also a
what
different game in
Lambeer
that
did.
regard. Yeah.
I mean, Lambeer will punch you.
I'm just saying, like, it's hard to equate a LeBron type player because he's in his own league. Basketball has changed.
Right.
Big men dribble the ball now. They shoot mid-range jumpers. It's crazy.
Non-basketball. Stop cheating, Eric. You're looking at the topic. All right, Kev. Getting back to the political scene, if you will. Republican Congress.
What the fuck?
Eric's just pissed right now.
Yeah, he's not a fan of the whole political thing. Republican Congresswoman from Tennessee is blaming pornography as the cause of school shootings.
That should just say Republican woman from Tennessee reveals that she's a fucking moron.
It causes
done. That's a stupid
it causes
thing
homework
I've
not
heard.
to get done and carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
But other than it does
The
not.
carpal tunnel rates in her area were up 45%. I can
Pornography
understand this,
being
but
the root cause of bad grades, I can get behind.
Yeah.
that. But, I mean,
But
school
obviously,
shootings-
I mean,
guns don't
obviously-
kill people, but porn kills
Obviously, this
people.
person
Right,
is
yeah.
is
Come
so
on.
deeply, stuck in their own presupposition about religion that they shouldn't be allowed to make decisions for other people. That's exactly the way I feel. I mean, she's not making decisions based on reason or logic. It's just because an old book told her to.
You three. I know Eric. You do gaming, right? You play video games.
You do
don't?
gaming.
I don't game.
Okay. Do you? You
I have no
never.
consoles.
No, not since
I
Mario
have-
Kart.
I got set PS4.
Yeah.
I do. I like
literally
the sports
still
games,
play-
though.
You playing Fortnite?
And I have this. My son has a Switch. I'm not gonna lie. I did binge and crush Zelda when I bought it for him. And
Zelda's pretty awesome.
yeah, I have a problem with that game. But that's like the only game I really get into like that. All the other ones are like social. Like when we have friends over, like let's play hockey.
Oh, you're
let's
talking
play
about the
yeah.
terrible
Like
game
FIFA.
where they shoot
Yeah.
kids and shit, right?
but not games I play by
There
myself.
is an active shooter game, online game that you can get on Valve, Steam, where the game itself is the gunman firing in the school. Literally. I mean,
Okay.
this is.
So what's the question? 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's terrible, but if you were going to ask me, should it be illegal, I'd probably be like, no, I guess if you're 21, if you're old enough, you can play dumb
Whatever the
games.
fuck you want.
The question is that why?
Who does that?
Why would someone do
Well,
this?
but hold
after
on,
all
fucked
this?
Hold on,
Well,
hold up real quick. The reason why people do things like this is because there is a market of people
Right.
who want this.
Right.
So
Same
if
reason
you're-
people make
it's
lipstick. 'Cause people
yeah,
will wear it.
like people want that shit. The most depraved things you can think of are only in existence because people want it.
Right.
And the market giveth and the market provideth. And sometimes what the market gives us are shitty things.
Yeah.
And that's a fact of life.
Now, if it was on Grand Theft Auto 5 or something, that was readily accessible. On
Bigger deal.
That's a bigger deal, but something like that, that's just stupid.
Do
made
I
by
want-
a-
do
by
I
a
wanna play a
shitty
game?
developer. No,
Of shooting up a school? No. I
no.
don't have any
but
desire
would
to
you
do
play
that.
GTA 5 and shoot a hooker?
Oh, I will beat it.
Right.
I will
But
beat
I'm
a hooker
also-
in that game.
but I'm
that's just
also-
a
hold up.
game. That's just a game.
Hold up. But I'm also going to really toe the line in saying what I think games should be made when I'm trying to combat stupid shit from people saying that video games are the reasons why mass shootings are happening. So, like, I don't put a whole lot of stock into that because those aren't the people can look at violent things and not commit violent crimes. It happens every day. I grew up playing games where people's brains got blown, all kinds of crazy shit. I've never in my life been like, man, sure shouldn't play those
Right.
games. I think I want to go shoot some people now. Fuck
just
me,
like,
right?
Just like
Never
every little
happens.
kid plays cops and robbers
Right. And so
or
you can't,
anything,
you can't try to make some sweeping thing because there's a couple of morons out there. Because that's not addressing the problem at all. So like I try to stay away from those kinds of arguments. People can make their own decisions, and if that game's 21 and over, like I don't give a shit. You want to go shoot up a school because you're a sick motherfucker in a video game, then you go ahead and do that.
Video games have been in the conversation since Columbine, and that was 20 years ago. Was it? Has it been 20 years? It's been 20 years. You know, like get over it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, it's Pornhub.
Yeah. So go buy Grand Theft Auto 5.
I'm on Pornhub 2.0. I recently just finished the entire.
Did you go ahead?
update.
So listen, guys,
you
I gotta
just
go play my show.
upgraded?
Yeah.
I love each and every one of you.
Good stuff as always.
Kev, Art, Zach. I love
Real
you all.
funny. And the Braves are terrible.
We're shutting it down and
Heard
getting
things.
ready to go watch Kev play. Real quick, while you two here, here's one.
Sorry for cussing so much. I feel like I cussed excessively tonight.
Eric, big
and I
deal-
don't do that.
Big deal
I'm not
for
a
you,
cusser.
Eric. NASA finds traces of ancient life on Mars. Is that a big deal to you?
Ancient life on Mars.
Yeah.
Well, then if it's ancient life, then it doesn't matter.
Well, that just no. I guess the point is that
Life
there
has existed on
life
other
has
planets.
existed on
Yeah.
another
That's
planet.
Oh, yeah.
That would be earth-shattering to people like Christians, for
But
instance.
Mars shadow. But it's
Basically, anyone who thinks that the life began and ended with the Earth.
the thing about Mars, obviously, that there's a keen interest in it. There's carbon. There's
How long is
traces
it going to take?
of water on there.
How long is
There's-
it going to take before we colonize that planet? When do you, in our lifetime, you're going to see it? You
I
think?
don't work at NASA.
No, but I mean, do you think you'll see it?
I mean,
during
I
the-
applied. I applied for a job. I had Mensa
For real?
sponsor me. Yeah.
Really?
No.
Okay.
No, dude, I don't have an opinion on it. If I don't have the time to think about Mars.
All right. Do you?
I think it's awesome.
I do.
I love space.
I do too.
I'm not gonna lie. I may have watched that press conference live on the internet because I thought it was pretty cool. But I think it's awesome. I think.
I want to know. I want to see all that in my lifetime. I wanna
Yeah, I
know-
mean, I
wanna
think
know
the biggest.
I want to know answers.
I think one of the most revolutionary things that could ever happen to human beings as a species is when we all realize at the very moment that everything was an accident and that life is a flash in the pan that happens. And when we can all kind of shed these dogmas, I think a lot of the things in the world would change once we kind of all had that universal, like, you know, it's like the theory of the 100th monkey. You ever heard of that?
Mm-mm.
So it's like the idea that like they were trying to train these monkeys how to like clean themselves from being radioactive, and as these monkeys, they kept teaching. They taught 1, they taught 5, they taught 20, they taught 30, they taught 40. But by the time they got to the 100th monkey of teaching them how to do this thing, they all started doing it at the same time. So it's kind of like the idea that like if once that kind of happened, the whole world, like your sense of self and who you are in the world would like automatically you'd be undeniable. You know, I think it would be unifying.
All right, Eric. Last thing I'm gonna
That's
throw
me
at
nerding
you.
out about
Yeah,
space.
last thing I'm gonna throw at you. In the last few weeks we had some people come on from Camp Quality Kentuckiana. They had their 7th annual Camp Quality Poker Run this past Saturday. It's in the record books. They have netted over $100,000.
They hit it?
They hit it.
Wow.
So props to all the people who were involved with Camp
That's
Camp
huge.
Quality Kentuckiana. It was a huge event. So yeah, much props, love to them. All about the kids. What they do is amazing. So anything we didn't talk about tonight, Eric, that you'd like to get off your chest, or
No, I mean, I think we learned a lot.
did you? I liked also. I have to bring one more last thing. Trump was considering pardoning Muhammad Ali. What was your take on that?
Pardoning him from what? Dodging the draft?
Without going into detail, Muhammad
it's-
Ali's lawyer stepped up and said he doesn't need to be pardoned.
That was posthumous.
I mean, it's kind of like disrespectful because it's like it's a PR stunt for himself.
Yeah. And,
Well, it's always
and on
been.
top of it,
Over, Muhammad
Ali's
Ali's
not
dead.
alive. He probably wouldn't even like it
And
himself.
at no point did Ali give a flying fuck about being pardoned for dodging the draft.
You know, I mean, that's the thing. It would probably take away from what he actually stood for anyway.
Well, it has nothing to do with Muhammad Ali. Let's keep that in mind. Nothing
Right.
ever does.
Mm.
Has to do with one person and one person only, and that's Donald Trump.
Zach, anything you got coming up?
We have no shows coming up. We are out of town, most of them, and we're just working on a record, laying low. Just have a new single out though. The Truth is out. It's on
Truth.
Spotify.
Yeah.
It's on
Good-
the
good song.
iTunes, on the Google. It's on everything.
We had Kevin Goodland on, was it?
Last week.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. I was here that night, but yeah, Kevin's
Maybe it was
awesome.
2 weeks ago.
Kevin's great,
Yeah.
and I'm looking forward. He's gonna do some more art for us for the next couple
Awesome.
songs. So.
Very cool. All right. Eric,
Cool.
take us home.
This Saturday, I will be emceeing the Borcar, the gig with Borcar, Breckenridge in the Clear. I think it's called the Make Memories. I don't have it in front of me, Raul. I'm so sorry. But definitely check this out. It is going to be a lot of great bands. You're going to see the reunion of Breckenridge. Borcar will be playing lots of great bands, very minimal cost. I will be there emceeing, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely check that out.
Definitely. Eric,
Also,
full show tonight, man.
oh, dude, it was great.
Props to your buddies, your bourbon buddies.
You did not suck tonight.
Well, thank you.
I thought you did a great job. You worked
Thank
hard.
you.
I know he doesn't support you.
He
He doesn't care
doesn't.
about you.
No.
I want you to know that I see it.
Zach, it means a lot to me.
I know what
man.
you've been doing.
Oh, yeah?
I see you working, big dog.
Do you really?
It's my coach used to say all the time. See you working. See you doing it.
Give us a recap.
Well,
Guests tonight.
I mean, obviously, Stephen Fonte, great guest, taught us a lot about bourbon and a lot of the misconceptions that we have. Robin Edwards, working for Lux Row Distilleries, lots of great spirits on the umbrella of Lux Row. I think Exotico Tequila is one of my favorite. Rebel Yell.
Revenge.
If you ever
Precinct.
and if
All
you
that
ever
moonshine.
check us out, or if you ever see me play with Chase Skinner, you're going to see some Rebel Yell stuff out there. The Hood was Bethany Hood was
Bethany
great.
Hood. She's
Learned
still
a lot
here. We're gonna
about-
go chat with her.
Yeah,
We're doing
learned a lot about makeup.
Makeup.
Frank, yeah. Brian's War. Next, it's gonna be next Saturday, June 23rd. Lots of great bands. $15 to catch all these great bands. It's gonna be incredible. Yeah, it's great radio.
I want to do one like you. I thought it was awesome.
And obviously our good buddies, Zach and Kevin. Also,
CummyBear.
Yeah,
Sweet CummyBear.
in the pre-cum segment.
Oh, my
always
God.
great.
I think we're on to something.
Ugh.
Yeah. So, in one of our sponsors here is Commonwealth Credit Solutions, and they talk about your credit being like a hand of poker. So if cash is king, then credit's your ace. How good is your credit hand? The certified credit consultants at Commonwealth Credit Solutions can get you back in the game, specializing in helping people with past and current credit issues, helping you to fix, educate, and improve your credit scores and finances. They offer 100% free credit consultation and credit analysis. Contact Commonwealth Credit Solutions today, toll free at 833-4FIX 24/7. That's 833-434-9247. Or just check out their website. I love mycreditscore.com.
Do you?
I do love my credit score. So also check them out. I love mycreditscore.com. Those are great guys over there. Very helpful, very friendly, and very intelligent about how to get you out of your credit rut very quickly.